The most engaging, impactful, informative, and entertaining talk show ever. Get ready to hear the voices of many local, state, and national artists, musicians, comedians, pastors, athletes, and politicians. It's time for South Florida Live with Jeffrey Brown. The most engaging, impactful, informative, and entertaining talk show ever. Get ready to hear the voices of many local, state, and national artists, musicians, comedians, pastors, athletes, and politicians. It's time for South Florida Live with Jeffrey Brown.
All right, it's that time. It's that time. It's that time. You know what time it is. Let's talk finance with the one and only Lisa Rogers Cherry, and it's that time. Come on. All right, Facebook family, YouTube. Come on, let's go. All right, Facebook, you know what to do. Let's hit the like and share button. YouTube, come on. And if it's your first time viewing us by YouTube, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. And after you do that, I need you to click on notification. Click all. That way you get notified every time we go live. But it's that time. And y'all, we got a special guest on tonight, so you don't want to miss it. Come on.
Some people got to have it. Well, some people need it. Woo, listen to me now. Two things.
All right, Facebook, let's go. I need you tagging and sharing on tonight. You don't want to miss it. We have a special guest going to be with us on tonight.
Talking about cash, money. Talk about.
All right, it's that time. We're going to bring her on. My sister. There she is. Lisa Rogers Cherry. How are you doing this evening? I'm doing well.
I'm good.
How was your day?
Good to see you.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to see you. Busy, but a good busy.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh, look at your shirt.
Oh yeah. What's that? You didn't know?
You were alive. All right.
Yes. It's the South Florida Live. It's the South Florida Live show, the one and only. Me. I'm sure you had a productive day. Hey, listen, I'm so excited. Thank you for hooking this up. Yes. Lisa say, Jennifer say, yes, I need to keep my money growing. Okay, it's gonna happen tonight. You're gonna get some tips on tonight and some other areas. All right, so we're ready. We want to start with the tips, and then we're gonna bring our special guest on. How about that? All right.
That'll work.
Hit us. Knock us out with those tips that you had.
Okay, last Friday we did Financial Tip Friday, and the tips were: number one, get ready, plan ahead, and decide who's going to be tailgating with you. Make sure you have a head count so you know exactly how many people you're expecting when you're going to a big game. You know who my team is, Jeff. We know who your team is. We're not going to fight about it, but we're supporting.
Colors on.
We're supporting the Dolphins tonight. Let's go Dolphins! Woo! Number
How
two,
about them
if the
Cowboys?
tailgating is going to be at your house, wait, what?
Huh?
What?
You said that if the
I
tailgate
think
is
y'all
going to be
wrong.
where now? You said the tailgate.
At your house. If you're going to be tailgating at your house or at the stadium, figure out who's bringing what: food, drinks, the grill, extra chairs, the tent, the paper goods. Make a list. Make sure everybody knows what they're bringing. Number three, make sure you shop around and compare prices for everything. From the wings to the plate, we all love a good deal. Number four, if you're actually going to the game, figure out if it's better to carpool or have somebody to drop you off. Number five, check the weather before you go so that you dress appropriately. We know down here in South Florida, it's prone to rain, so bring your poncho. Whether it's rain or shine, love a good time. So I see the comments from my cousin. Those are my 5 tips last week. If you're going to the game and you're tailgating, you got to plan ahead, Jeff. You can't just show up willy-nilly. You got to have some plans.
Of course. I mean, well, they're not coming to South Florida this year, so there's really no need for me to plan for any tailgating. But you know, if those mullets, I mean the Dolphins, if y'all have some tailgating, I'll show up. I'll show up and I'll bring my goods and whatever. Help you guys out.
What you gonna bring?
Huh?
What are you gonna bring?
What's known mostly in Texas? I think it's barbecue. Okay, I may bring some barbecue. So you know that's big in Dallas, Texas. That's big in Dallas,
That's
Texas.
fine.
Unless I bring some fish, we can eat on fish. You know, being that a lot of a lot of folks have been eating fish lately. You know, so
because we have some plans up our sleeve. We have some plans up our sleeve, and the rest of the season is gonna be amazing.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to trend in the right direction. They have a kid now, Tyler Huntley. He was one of my middle school students at Olsen Middle. He played flag football for me. So and he went to the great school of Hallandale High. He graduated from there. He played football there. So, you know, that's a plus right there. They may get me to go to a few of their games now. Yes.
Okay.
So they may get me to go to a few of the games. Yeah, they may get me to go to a few of the games now. Yeah. Since he's there. They're working on it. Yeah. So, okay. Those are good tips. Hey, listen. I mean, but that is important though. Always, and also, Lisa, they always bring rain gear.
Yes.
Rain gear. Because this is South Florida. You never know.
You can get one from the Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
Take a poncho, because you can't take an umbrella in the stadium.
I used to stop by the Dollar Tree and dollar store and pick up a whole bunch of ponchos for those that wasn't thinking about it. So yeah, you got to do that. Right. Make sure you have everything on point, everything in place, even at home or even at the stadium. So those are good tips. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Be prepared.
Hey, listen. Yeah, you got to be prepared. No more cake. Or Jeff is Jennifer say no more cake for me. It's for fish members only. Oh, really, Jen? Come on. It's just a joke. Come on. I said I was going to bring fish.
I think my whole family are Dolphins. Maybe one or two are not, but we ride hard for the Dolphins.
I believe all of them are, because I remember when I came there, I had my Cowboy jersey on, and everybody looking at me funny. So, yeah.
we have a few that are starting on the list this year. Kansas City, the past few years, including my mom.
No.
Patrick Mahomes, but yes.
Okay. Because
She's
I'm like
a Patrick fan. I don't know so much about Kansas City, but Patrick.
She loved Patrick. She don't really care much about the team. It's just long as Patrick's playing. Yeah. All right. Hey, listen, I'm excited about tonight. We have our guest. We have a special guest with us on tonight. I mean, major. and I'm going to let you bring him on, and we're going to bring him on and let him introduce himself, or you can introduce him
Okay.
to us, Mr. Marvin Dejon, to us, my audience. I really appreciate you. There he goes. He's wow,
He's
this is
muted.
large.
There you go.
This is large, man, to
This is
have. Wow.
one of my longtime friends, Jeff. I've known Marvin since, I won't date myself, but a long, long time. So we grew up together. How about that?
That's true.
So thank you, Marvin, for accepting my invitation and joining us tonight. Marvin has a wealth of information. And Marvin, how about this? How about you introduce yourself?
Yes.
Because you've been doing some great things lately, and I want you to tell your story.
Sure. Lisa, first of all, thank you for inviting me tonight. This was a great pleasure. I just literally landed from coming in from Washington, D.C., and just had the opportunity to pop in. Jeffrey, thank you again for inviting me to your wonderful show. I'm looking forward to the discussion tonight. I'm an evangelist for the stuff that I talk about. Like Lisa said, I've been doing this, at least a good 20 years now.
Wow.
I'm what you call a business futurist. So what I do is I help companies, organizations, individuals really think strategically about what's coming down the pike in the future, whether we're talking technology, whether we're talking about societal trends, how society is going to change in the next couple of decades. I help people and companies understand what needs to happen to their business right now in order for them to be prepared for the kind of changes that are really coming down the pike in the next several years. And really, that's, as a consultant, that's all I do is I travel and I introduce these kind of concepts and ideas and training to individuals and organizations and employees to really understand what we call massive trends and societal changes that are coming down the pike. So I think we're going to get a chance to talk a little bit more about that tonight. So I'm excited to share, my knowledge and a little bit of what I do. So thank you again, Lisa and Jeffrey, for the invitation.
No, I appreciate you coming on at last minute, man. And just to say you would do this and join us on this evening, man. I really appreciate you taking out your busy schedule, just flying, just reaching in. You could have said, man, listen, I just got here, just got back. I ain't got time for this. I'm going to just wind down. But I appreciate it. Thank you so much, my brother.
My pleasure.
Blessings.
He flew in just for us, Jeff.
Oh, okay. We'll take that. Okay. We'll take that.
You guys are too much.
Enough said.
Oh my God.
Will we start, Jeff?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to start. I have 100 questions for you, but we'll.
Yes, she does.
Because I'm really excited and interested in the topic. First and foremost, what major trends do you see shaping the future of the digital economy over the next decade?
Look, so the economy, just like everything else, is going to shift in the next decade. And it's mostly driven by the rise of technology that we've never seen before, right? So whether we're talking about artificial intelligence, or we're talking about blockchain, which I'll explain in a few minutes, whether we're talking about the Internet of Things, or quantum computing, these are all major, massive technologies that are going to drive massive societal changes in the next decade, right? So think about artificial intelligence right now is just at the beginning stages, right? So it's really very in its infancy. So people can't really picture how this technology is really going to start shifting things. But it's really, if you can extrapolate how this technology is going to grow, you can imagine that artificial intelligence, for example, is going to be embedded in pretty much everything that we do, right? So think about how right now you can't leave your house without your phone, right? Or you can't possibly imagine doing business without the internet, or just living without the internet, right? Artificial intelligence is going to be 10 times or 20 times even more than that, right? So it's going to be building on that foundation, but AI is just going to be literally embedded in everything you can think of, from your house to your phone to your car to your clothes. AI, having your own personal AI, is going to radically change the way we live as a species on the planet.
So there's no getting around this AI. I've been
There
running
is,
from
there is
ChatGPT.
there is no getting around AI. AI is going the same way that people, 30 years ago were saying, internet, what is that? Is it like something, you send emails? They really had no idea. So, and then today, try spending a day without the internet, right? It's almost quasi impossible for you, whether it's on your phone or
Right. I mean,
you can't even do
you're
business.
constantly getting email messages and text messages and contacting.
AI
And
is going to be even
you
worse.
leave your phone, you're in trouble.
AI is going to be 10 times more than that. It's going to be wrapped up in everything that we do. And it's really going to be a game changer in terms of how we live and how we do business and and as a society, period.
Now I saw something. I'm gonna inject because that I was just hearing something the other day at during the Emmys, and they were talking about AI and how AI was affecting them in the movies in that Hollywood area where AI was infiltrating a lot of the movies, a lot of the actors and voices and whatever. Now they have reached out, or they're doing something now to try and block that or stop that, where they can't do it or serve it. Is that possible? I know technology is high scale, but I don't know if you've heard about it, but is it even possible to try and block them from now, AI from now, interfering with what we sent with the movies?
So listen, the reason that AI is going to be impossible to stop is because of the capacity of this technology, what it's going to be able to do. So for example, you just talked about, in Hollywood right now, a lot of actors, a lot of writers, a lot of creatives are really afraid because they see the capacity. And like I said, AI is only at the infant stage, right? So if you can think about the early stages of the internet, when we had AOL, for example, right? It was like the dial-up and you had hyperlinks, that was very early stages internet. And people were excited, but the internet hadn't really reached its, zenith the way it is today. AI, if we were to compare AI today, think about AI at that level. That's how young AI is, and it's already showing its muscles, right? So you can imagine 5 years from now, 10 years from now, how AI is going to be able to do that. I literally was just reading earlier this week. I think it's Paramount just signed a deal with Sora, which is the AI for OpenAI that can literally do videos, very, very, like mind videos, right? So really now you're starting to see Hollywood starting to think, how can we start embedding this thing to replace the cost and the efficiency that we used to have to hire actors, hire writers, they're going to start decreasing their dependencies on these types of individuals and start replacing them with AI. And the biggest issue is that AI, once it starts doing that, it's going to be across any kind of business you can possibly think of. So people are going to be able to do a lot more with a lot less people. So
and I think.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Jennifer had a question, and my question is similar. What impact do you think it's going to have on the job industry? AI, replacing people, and will people be losing their jobs to technology?
Yeah, so look, listen, it's almost similar to like the agrarian society is what I like to always talk about, right? So when that revolution happened, the industrial revolution happened, you saw massive amounts of people leaving farms, right? Because we'd been farmers in agrarian societies for thousands of years. And the Industrial Revolution literally shifted that, right? So people went into the cities, moved into cities, started working in factories. So, you saw the rise of mom and pop shops trying to keep up with the demand. But really, the Industrial Revolution just totally eradicated or disrupted a way of life that people had known for thousands of years. Well, the digital revolution is about to do the same thing. It's already started doing the same thing. So we're going to see what I like to call a creative destruction of jobs that we've known to do for thousands of years. I'll give you a simple example. The other day, I got a card from a vendor that I've been using for, I don't know, at least a good decade now. It was business cards. They do high-end, very nice business cards. But I can't tell you the last time that I've gone to a networking event or I've gone somewhere where I'm passing my business cards. People are just pulling out their phones and they say, hey, are you on LinkedIn? Can I connect with you on LinkedIn? So that, just think about that. That particular industry is going to be inflicted a slow death, right? Nobody's going to be using. So how do they even pivot into something, whether or not they start pivoting into digital business cards? But even then, if you have the rise of your personal, what we call agents, right? Your AI agent on your phone, you won't even need to be scanning your phone anymore. You're going to be able to just press your phone with somebody else's phone, and those two AI agents just go ahead and absolutely, share your information with as many people as you want in that room in a matter of seconds, right? So just think about one industry, and that's just one industry that is going to be impacted by the technology. The difference between the Industrial Revolution and the digital revolution that we're going through is the level of velocity, how fast it's moving. It is moving faster than we've ever seen before. And as a society, as a government, as business, we're not ready for this kind of stuff that at the speed that it's coming in.
You just said something and it brought me back because I almost dropped my phone one day. I mean, literally about threw it down when I was next to someone that had an iPhone, and it was saying, it was like, could we like connect to each other? It was connecting to each other. And I'm like, whoa, I literally almost threw my phone down because I'm like, what is going on? Yeah. So by you saying that now, only thing we have to do with our phone is just reach out and connect with people, because I use the dot for my thing, because I business card and all that. Now I just scroll up and I got the code, the what you call code, and they scan it, and all my information is on there. Now I'm gonna ask you this: is that safe?
Well, it's gonna get safer and safer, right? So what's gonna happen is, as this technology gets better and we get more interconnected, what's the rise of cybersecurity is going to get even better, right? So think about your digital identity is going to become an asset. It's going to be something that you carry with you. You're gonna make a decision of who you share your digital identity with and who you don't, right? So you can even see at some point in the very far future where digital identities or privacy becomes something that you purchase, because your identity is going to be pretty much everywhere, right? So if you want some level of privacy, if you want some level of, levers where people can have access to some information but not others, you're going to see organizations, companies, platforms, softwares who are going to rise up and be able to give you that as a service, right? Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff we're going to see where, the cybersecurity, whether it's biometric, we're probably talking fingerprints or even iris scanning, is going to really allow you to say, okay, I can share my biometric information with this organization or this company, or I don't want to share my biometric information with this, or even see in the future where we can see even biometric or digital identities. You can pretty much sell that, right? So you can see companies paying you or charging. You can charge for people to have access to your biometric information. So it's a very different world. Wow. Yeah, it's a very different world. We're seeing it coming down the pipe.
So my question, Marvin, is how do common everyday people keep up with technology? I mean, it's hard enough to stay afloat with day-to-day living now as we know it, but with all these different, I mean, I know people who don't have Zelle, who don't have Cash App. I mean, you're talking next level stuff here.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because that's the thing. Like, look, even I'm in the field, and I'm telling you, I can barely keep up. I mean, I'm drinking out of a fire hose every day. There's something new, and that's what I was saying earlier. Is how fast this thing is coming, and people, like you said, we're so busy, caught up in so many of our daily living. We're so busy, caught up in just trying to survive, that we don't even see the technologies that are rising, right? So something like something simple, like, well, not simple, but something like blockchain, right? Blockchain is what we call the underlying platform, the underlying, think of the internet that allows us to do websites, emails, all sorts of e-commerce stuff right now. Blockchain is going to be that next level platform that allows us to do digital transactions, meaning monetary transactions. So when you talk about a cashless society or a digital currency society, whether we're talking Bitcoin or CDBCs, which are government owned digital currency, the blockchain is going to be that platform that is used to allow transactions. But it's going to be a platform that is 100 times faster than what we've ever seen before, right? So think about this. If you're doing a transaction right now, let's just say you're sending someone money or you're transferring money from one account to another, from one bank to another. Usually it takes about 3 or 4 days because it has to go through some kind of node that really verifies that your actual sender, that the person that you're sending to is the actual person. It takes at least 3 or 4 days before it even hits your account. In a blockchain, something like that is going to happen in a matter of seconds. But not only a matter of seconds,
Wow.
it's not just money, it's your digital identity and also your assets. So, for example, think about home ownership. If you own your home, that home ownership is going to live on the blockchain. So when you decide you want to sell your home, it's no longer going to be going through, say, the normal channel of a bank, or you can literally sell your home in the future. You'll be able to sell it in a matter of seconds. And the blockchain was going to identify your identity, the other person's identity, be able to identify that the person has the assets and the dollars to transfer, that the home belongs to you, that it's free and clear, and that you can transfer. And the minute that you do that transfer happens in the blockchain and it lives on the blockchain forever. So you literally will be able to sell any asset that you have, physical or digital, on the blockchain in a matter of seconds.
So Marvin, how much time do we have? How much time do we have to get ready? I mean, this sounds like
it's already here.
It's already here. Yeah, they've already started. Banks are already working with blockchain. We're starting to see certain things happening on the blockchain. Look, I would say within the next decade or so, we're going to see a completely different economy, a different society. Right now, these technologies are operating in silos, or they're growing in silos, right? So we're hearing about AI. You might hear about blockchain here. You might hear what's going to really be the tipping point is when we have convergence, when we have what we call super convergence of all these technologies meeting together and now interacting with each other. So a good example of that would be, think about all the different robots, the robotics that you're seeing on. Now think about that robot now being really controlled or led by machine learning or by AI. So that means it's completely autonomous. So that's a convergence right there.
Yeah,
that's a convergence. So those things are really going to change the game.
So that means I pulled up the blockchain. I pulled it up, and so it's dealing with the Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, Ethereum, and that area. So even that, we need to educate ourselves to the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. I mean, my son is in it. He wasn't trying to explain it to me, but I'm like, man, I'm not ready for that. But it's coming, because at one time they were talking about that's the way that the NBA players were going to end up being paid. By that way. So
look, the truth of the matter, whether you want to call it Bitcoin, you want to call it Ethereum, you want to call it whatever, CDBCs, the truth is the future of money is going to be digital currencies. more and more we're starting
And
to see fiat money just disappear.
I saw that when I was in China last year. We paid for everything through our phone. I mean, there was no physical
No
money.
cards.
Everything
Right.
was on the phone. So
Okay.
we had to keep our phones charged. To get into the hotel, we used the phone. It was a tap of the phone for the key. Everything was digital. If your phone is dead, you're out of gas. I mean, from the Uber to the hotel to the restaurants, everything we did was on our phones.
That's exactly correct.
I mean, think about it now. Every time you go to the Hard Rock Stadium to see them, the Dolphins, when you go to concession stand, what you do?
Yep.
You tap
You
them.
have to use your phone.
You
You tapping. No cash.
No
That's
cash.
everywhere now. That's like everywhere now. No cash. Everything is tapped.
So the digital evolution or revolution, just like the industrial revolution, is ushering a new way of doing things. One of those big markers is going to be a digital currencies where, cash is at some point or another, there's going to be a tipping point where you're going to see less and less cash. And it's already happening because you use more of your card or your phone than you're using cash. I can't even remember the last time I used cash on anything. Can you remember the last time you wrote a check? So all of these things are slowly disappearing. The problem is going to be, well, I wouldn't say a problem. The challenge is going to be for people to really start understanding what does that mean for them, right? It's a very fast society. It's a very, very rapid society. It's going to evolve very fast. And we're going to start seeing things, in terms of how you purchase goods, the transactions that you're going to be able to do. Things are going to move really, really fast, really, really fast. If we think things are moving fast now, we have no idea how fast things are going to move. So it's really important for us, whether you jump on YouTube, whether you jump on Google, whether you jump on ChatGPT, but it's important for you to really understand these technologies and understand the impact that it's going to have on you.
Yeah, and I mean, because I'm looking at the comments and I've been popping some up. The baby boomers are going crazy right now. the baby boomers are going, an older generation, they're going crazy right now. I'm hearing some mother Gooden Lee said she'll be staying home from now on. Say she's still writing checks. There's someone said that I'm clueless. My understanding is back in the 90s, but we have to have things like this and conversations like this to educate it and broaden even those in that area, in that generation that just still want to write a check. I ran into a guy the other day at work and he was totally upset because he's like, it don't even make no sense to me to carry cash. I try and use cash and nobody accept cash. Everything is card. And I told him, I say, sir, be honest. I know our fathers and whatnot told us we should always keep money in our pockets. But now, in this generation, at this time, there's no need because everything is tap.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to get to a point where everything is going to become, in terms of payment, is going to become digital, right? So whether you're talking about, using your phone or your card, or it's going to be where, like some of the people who are commenting, whether or not you receive Social Security payment, you receive child support payments, you receive any kind of payment, it's going to become a digital currency, whether or not they do direct deposit into your account. When you go out, whether it's to the store or whatever, you're going to see more and more signs saying we don't accept cash and you need to have either a card. For those people who don't have cards, they're going to start really slowly but surely introducing biometrics, where you see Amazon is already doing that, where certain stores, if you remember, and Amazon has opened some of these stores where you go in and you just shop, right? And you just put your stuff in your basket and there are cameras inside the store and you just walk out. But because your card and your account is already connected to Amazon, you don't need to pull out a card, you don't need to pull out a phone, and you get just charged for whatever it is you bought and you purchased. So that's the world that is emerging. very, very quickly. And, you know, the reason that I do this kind of work is because I can see that companies, governments, organizations, individuals, a lot of people are not ready for this kind of shift. And it's really, you know, just educating people and educating organizations on how to be ready for this thing. Because, you know, COVID was the first shot across the bow. COVID was the first shot across the bow that things can shift very quickly. And that if you can't pivot as an individual, as an organization, as a company, you can go under very quickly. The second shot across the bow was the rise of OpenAI and ChatGPT. That's the second shot across the bow. That just was one of those seminal moments that we're going to look back and say, when did things start shifting? Really, like it was in the social consciousness. That's two already major milestones that tell us that you know, things are changing. There's going to be more. There's going to be seminal moments where things are just like, okay, we know we're not in Kansas anymore, and that Elvis has left the building. Things are like, whoa, what is going on? Yeah, and it's going to more and more. And then I tell people all the time, every year that goes by, it's almost as if, like, if you're a business or an organization and you don't start transforming, you're going to fall 3 to 5 years behind, year after year, because that's how fast things are moving.
Wow.
So it's really something that as leaders, we really need to start educating our communities. We need to start educating individuals, organizations, companies, because this thing is coming. And when it does, that tipping point, it's gonna move much faster, and people are gonna have a harder time either pivoting or trying to catch up.
Wow. Hey, listen, that's good. That's good stuff. This is good, man. I appreciate this.
My pleasure.
We gonna have to set up something for you to do some I know you probably already do workshops and sessions and stuff, but a lot of people, and I'm just thinking now, our older generation, our seniors, they need to hear this. They need to prepare this, unless they have someone that's close to them who can help them out. In what you said, about 4 years now. 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, but every year you fail to transform, you're falling about 3 to 5 years behind.
Yeah, every year it's gonna be real tough.
It's gonna get tougher and tougher. Absolutely.
I have one more quick question, Jeff, for Marvin. What would you say that the day in the life of someone using all these new technologies is going to look like for us, regular common folk?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be, you know, like I said, a very different world. So you're starting to see the emergence of the contours of this new society. So think about someone who wakes up, let's say you have a job. Most of your job could be probably done in a hybrid way. Right? You're probably not even going to go into an office, or you could live in one part of the country and your job is halfway across the world. And you're jumping in either on AR, VR, and interacting with your colleagues and getting the work done. You're going to be probably, a lot of people may not necessarily have full-time jobs. They'll be part of teams that companies assemble just to do a project. And then once that project is done, it disassembles. So you're going to probably live on some kind of dashboard where companies are going to be able to say, I'm looking for someone with this particular skill set. And the better you are at your skill set. So if you do a project and you did really well in that project, they rate you and you're going to go higher up on that board. And more companies may reach out to you in order for you to be part of a project. And they're going to pay you, top dollars based on your skill set. So the better you get at some skills, the more you're going to be, people are going to come looking for you. And then what we're going to see is a complete shift on how things used to be. So meaning your assets are going to be portable. So not only your digital asset, not only your skill set, but you're going to be able to carry your insurance, for example, with you. So you don't need to necessarily work for a company to have insurance policies anymore, or health insurance. You're going to be able to carry that with you from place to place. So all of these things or like I said, as the technology gets better and make things what we call the world much more efficient and faster, we're going to lose certain things about our society, and even I'd like to say even our humanity, to becoming a much more efficient and much faster society. So you can see this just
so tell me this.
Yes.
Do you think they're going to do the implanting of the chips? They've been talking about that for years and years, that they're going to implant chips into human beings.
So again, I think one of the things that we, and this is why these kind of conversations need to happen, because what's happening is so many things are happening all at the same time that people can't see sometimes the bigger picture of what's happening. It's almost we're being corralled into one potential way of things happening, right? And we need to be very careful about that, because when you have these kind of technologies being controlled by specific corporations, large corporations, that our lives dependent on those things, or certain governments and an alliance with these corporations, and then pretty much you find yourself where you have no other alternative, right? You have no, like when you go into a store and they say, we don't accept cash, now you don't have an alternative. You can't go somewhere and say, okay, well, let me go find some, more and more places, as they stop accepting cash, then you have nowhere to go. So, the idea that now with 8 billion people and that humanity moving from 8 billion to possibly 10 billion people, you're going to start seeing governments and more governments. And you see it in China, where, more and more governments are going to play around with the idea that the only way to keep ourselves safe is to have biometric information on everybody. And once you have biometric information, you can see it now, slowly but surely. Like, for example, when you go to the airport, there's Clear, where your iris scans are being done. Your fingerprint is being used to, open your phone or do whatever. You can slowly see, if you extrapolate that, easily see where governments or corporations say, well, look, if you want to work here, if you want to access your food stamps, if you want to get your social, you need to be not only registered, but you can only do it, those through a biometric sense. And it could be a chip, it could be a scan, it could be an iris scan, but you can see easily that digital technology is going to be the way of really keeping tabs on people and being able to say you can only access X only if you're part of a system where we can know who you are, what you do, what you get, where you go, etc. So you see the rise of a surveillance state and the loss of, individual liberties and way of life. So that's why, as a community, if we're not having these kind of conversations, it's going to blindside us, right? It's going to totally blindside us that these technologies are great. They're fun. They do a lot of stuff, but they also it's a double-edged sword. There's this loss of privacy. There's this loss of individual liberties that can easily come with these things. And, you accepting biometrics as a way of life. And pretty soon it's a very slippery slope, right? Because we just can't live without these kind of technologies. So those are conversations that, as communities, as churches, as leaders, as individuals, we need to be having, not only individually in our families, but in communities, in larger systems, to be saying, is this where we want to go? Are people making decisions for us that we don't really want to be part of, right? So now we're going to get a crossroad where we're going to say, do we take part of society, right? And the society is exacting a very high price because that's the technology now that's prevailing? Or do we want to say, hey, we don't mind the technology, but losing our privacy is too much of a high price to pay for us to live in that kind of convenient and efficient world? So I believe in us having these kind of conversations.
I have a question. I think this is a school board employee. They say in the school system, they are banning phones because of distraction to teach. So they're asking, do you think they will eventually have to change that rule, being that eventually they're going to have to use their phones?
Well, look, I think the phone is just one particular platform that individuals are getting their information. So, like I said, within the next couple of decades, everything that we know is going to change, including the educational system, right? The way that we're teaching our kids for the past, I don't know, 200, 2,000 years, that's about to shift. Because look, if you say to a child, look, I want you to tell me, the Pythagoras theorem on finding, the hypotenuse. Look, at some point, the child is not going to need to know that information because his own agent AI will be able to help him get that information. So this child who may be 5 or even 6 years old will have access to information that took this teacher years to learn. He or she's going to have access to that in a matter of seconds. So really the idea that you're transferring knowledge to a child in order for them to be able to learn how to do things, that's going to be gone in the next couple of decades. The child doesn't need that kind of teaching. What the child is going to need is, what do I do with this information? How do I collaborate with others with this information? How do I strategically think with this information and create something new with it, right? So for the days of human beings having to retain all this information in order to be able to, have a skill set or be able to do things, that's where these kind of AI or even other types of machine learning are going to be able to gather what we call the collective learning or the collective intelligence of humanity. And you don't need to have access to it. You have access to it anytime, anywhere. So the question for you now is, how do I start thinking, right? How do I raise my level of strategic thinking, my collaboration, my empathy with other human beings to create new things? Because information is going to be accessible to me anywhere.
Yeah, because even with Google, I mean, I remember some time my son graduated high school in 2012, and I think it was probably like his sophomore year, he came to me with a math problem, which that was never my favorite.
Right.
And so something said, I didn't know it. I really didn't have any idea. we was trying to figure it out. And something said, check Google.
Yep.
So we put the problem in Google.
Yep.
And Google showed us the breakdown, the answer, everything to it. So I told him after that, I said, I don't want to ever see you get nothing lower than a B in the math, bro. Here's Google. No, but like you said, but now, even though it was there, I told him you got to still learn how to, contain that and understand those steps and actually learn that. So I'm saying, don't use Google just to get the answer, but you need to know it, because you never know when a teacher might tell you come up and explain it. So
well, it's the same thing with ChatGPT. Just came out with their new version called Strawberry just a couple of weeks ago. But a Strawberry is a much more logical interface than ChatGPT 3.5 and 4.0 or 4.0. It just keeps getting smarter and smarter. So, for example, the Strawberry now really takes the time if you give it really, really intense or very high level math problems or physics problems, for example, it can really deduct exactly step by step how to get to the answer. But when you talk about the future and a child has a math problem or a problem like that, they can input it on ChatGPT or an AI agent or any AI agent. And it's not just spitting out the answer. It can literally teach the child step by step how to get that answer, right? And it can even give it quizzes or, test the child on how to actually do it. So when you do that, that is an autonomous agent that is teaching a child. And think about a child who does this on a continuous basis. By the time he or she gets into the classroom, what that teacher is teaching is or totally irrelevant or too slow for that child already. right? So you're going to see teachers bringing in AI agents like ChatGPTs or the Geminis or the Claudes of the world inside the classroom, because these AI agents are going to be much better at teaching that child step by step, or how to actually manipulate the problem to actually get the results, right? So the teacher is really going to become a guide on how to actually start using this information to get better results or create new things. So those kind of things are, in terms of how we see the world, we're a generation who had to use work, and I put that in quotation marks, actual manual work to get to solutions to our problems. In this new digital era, this next generation is going to have access to all of our collective intelligence for the past 2,000 years that humanity has been able to build this kind of, and have access to all that database in a matter of seconds. So really, any information that a child in the next 10 to 20 years is going to want access to, they're going to have access to it. The question is, how do they extract that data and really use their intelligence to really now use that information to do other things with other people or other groups, right? So that's a whole other level of education that we have not seen on this planet before. So again, how do we start preparing ourselves in this next generation to think critically much faster and much more intelligently than we've ever had as a species on this planet?
Wow. Yeah, I just pulled it up. I'm sorry. I just do that.
I'm like, oh my God, I'm looking up stuff.
Yeah, it's strawberry. This strawberry tech. It's something serious. It's very endowed with AI, and it's
crazy how fast this stuff is moving, right? Because people are still thinking ChatGPT or ChatGPT 3.0. They're already at strawberry, and really ultimately where all these AI companies like OpenAI and Gemini and Microsoft are going is they want to get to what they call artificial general intelligence, right? It's AGI, and AGI is the AI that can really think on its own. It can do things autonomously. You train it, but it's going to be pretty much autonomous and be able to do what it's commanded, but it's going to have its objective, but it's not going to need human input to actually get things done. So again, we're moving at the speed of light here towards a future that's hurling towards us. And so many of us in our communities are just unaware of how fast this stuff is moving. And it's going to have an impact on us. It's going to have an impact on our children. It's going to have an impact on society as a whole, completely top to bottom, in reshaping society.
Well, thank you for scaring the bejesus out of us. And,
I get that often. I get that often.
Oh my God. I mean, I've heard little tidbits, and I'm like, okay, I see the people, you have the self-checkouts already, and, different little things are sliding into place, and they're replacing people and taking away jobs. More and more jobs are being replaced. I'm seeing like automatic, the robots in hospitals delivering pills to patients.
Yep.
So the restaurants too.
Restaurants.
I saw it in the restaurant too. So ready or not, my mom said ready or not, it's coming. So we may as well get ready for it. And Mark, you are amazing. I mean, this is a lot of information we need to know. We need to prepare. So Jeff, with your permission, I'd like to ask to have Marvin back again.
Y'all keep going if you want to. Ask a few more.
I can't go no more. I need to take a breather.
We can only digest so much, huh?
Oh, you guys.
I can only imagine what my mom's thinking. If I'm here, I'm like, oh my God. So
yeah. I mean, but look, you can see it's happening slowly, right? Like think about SunPass, for example. Mm-hmm. I remember when I first came to Florida, you had to literally, when you were going down the highway, you had to stop and give an attendant
money. Right.
And, you could like get tell me where all these attendants have gone, right? They've just totally disappeared.
Yeah, they're gone.
And it didn't just start to happen. They've been gone for a while now, a few years.
They've been gone for a while. But you can easily see, for example, the same biometric information once it starts becoming on an individual basis. Like, for example, you can see things like TSA at the airport where there's a complete need for individuals, because the AI or the technology is going to be able to scan you, be able to see what you're carrying, and be able to, and it's a free, and of course it's going to be like, oh, look, this frees people from this congestion of having to wait in a queue, and you just free flow. But again, it's very convenient, but it's a double-edged sword. What privacy are we giving up?
That part. Just
to have that kind of convenience. And so you have to really think very thoroughly about these kind of changes and say, look, it's on one hand, it's very convenient, this phone of ours, that we carry everywhere. And everybody, you talk to people and they say, look, I had my phone and I had a conversation with someone about something or another. And then next thing you know, they're getting ads for that particular thing all of a sudden. So that's phone.
You mentioned something, Marvin.
It's listening to you, right? So
I threw away my Alexa because
it's listening. It's listening to everything that
you have a phone, you have a TV. So
everything is listening to you. So again, we laugh because back in our high school days, we used to read classics like 1984, right? With Orson Welles talking about, Big Brother watching us. And we were like, oh, that seems so far-fetched. And now it's like, it's not so. Every time we walk out, whether you're in your car or you're in an elevator or you're in a building, you just assume that there are cameras everywhere now.
Absolutely.
Cameras are everywhere now. So
at
again,
the corner, at the red light,
everywhere. Even somebody having a ring to their door, you walk by, you're there. So we're really seeing again, as a society, we need to start asking ourselves really very difficult questions. What kind of world do we want to live in? Is it a world where we give up our individual privacy or individual liberties for the sake of convenience, for the sake of technology, for the sake of wanting to have that kind of a life that's very, very easy, very convenient because it's at the push of a button. But remember, nothing is free. There's a price to pay for everything. And as a society, we should be having the conversation as a whole, not allowing just a few people to make the decision for us. We need to be thinking about what are the ethics of AI? How is AI biased towards people of color, communities of color? What is this data being trained on, right? So what is this AI being trained on? So, it's like, it's becoming a very, very big reality, but it comes with a lot of questions that as a community, if we're not busy asking, we're going to be on the tail end and the train has left the building and we won't have any say-so of how this society is being constructed.
Yeah. I mean, wow. Okay. So we got to wrap it up. I don't know. Is he available next Thursday, 7? I don't know. I know your schedule is tight. We bring you back whenever. But yeah, we'll like to bring you back.
I'm more than happy to come back and continue to have this.
He's a giant. He's wanted all across the country. He just flew in from DC, so maybe he can pencil us in.
Hey, listen, look, with the technology nowadays, I could be in
Timbuktu wherever.
Right, there you go.
Do wherever. We get you wherever you are.
That's right.
Hey, listen, Mr. Dejan, thank you so much, man, for taking out your busy schedule to join us on tonight and share this wealth of information that I gave a homework assignment. I told him research blockchain and strawberry tech. So, research it. A lot of stuff you can research. You can go on Google and pull it up and ask, about the AI or what's the new tech or whatever. And it'll come up. But thank you, sir. I appreciate you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And like I said, more than happy to come back and talk about specific things or, specific topics. But the more that we talk about this as a community, the better prepared we'll be.
I'm right now. It's the wheels are turning right now in my head of some things. I'm gonna get in contact with you. I'll get your information. I get from Lisa, and we'll talk about some things because my heart is for my seniors.
Yeah.
And the way this thing is going, our seniors are gonna be lost. They're not gonna be able to handle some of this stuff. Yep. So I know I have a godmother that she's always trying to keep up with the new technology. She literally does. During COVID, she became a Zoom queen. So So yeah,
They can learn
but
it.
anyway,
You just have to help them. They can learn it.
yeah, and they'll do it. Right, she writes down all the notes and remember it all, and she end up helping other people. So yeah, so we want to do that. So brother, thank you once again for joining us. Peace and blessings to you, man. Peace and blessings. Lisa, thank you as always. Love you so much. We'll be talking.
Thank you. Go Dolphins. Woo!
You heard the silence.
I'm gonna get pushed, mute, get clicked off.
There we go. That's what you get right there for the Dolphins. All right, thank you, baby. Love you.
Love you too. Good night. Thank you all for tuning in. To my family and friends, everybody's listening. Thank you all so much. We appreciate you. Thank you, Jeff, for having us.
Thank you. Hey, y'all, listen, you've been watching the South Florida Live podcast. And if you enjoyed this, I want you to please share this broadcast with someone and let them know, just inform them, encourage them, get them engaged in what's it's on the way. It's on the way. It's already here. This is just he just talked about a little small surface of it, but it's already here, y'all. If you are paying attention, it's already here because everything is cashless now. So it's on the way. So once again, thank you for viewing us. Thank you for being a part of this broadcast. I just ask you to just share with everybody, share, and let them know, and share this with them because we need to be educated. We need to know what's coming down, and you'll be hearing more about this in the near future. So once again, y'all, thank you for joining me, being a part. Listen, next week, join me next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We might have something on Tuesday, but God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. Hey, as I always say, hey, listen, I'll pray for you. Y'all keep on now. Keep on. Don't play with me. Keep praying for me, and we're going to watch God change things. God bless you.
Email your idea for show topics to the South Florida Live Show at gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in to South Florida Live with your host, Jeffrey Brown.